Dear friends, welcome to The Brave Hearts, a show dedicated to the courageous people who inspire and motivate. My name is Operator Starsky, and today I have a pleasure to introduce a South African warrior to you, my friends. A man from a distant land, but with a Ukrainian heart beating in his chest. Call sign Viper from the 422nd Separate Battalion, 42nd Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, will share his story today.
Hi, Starsky. Thanks for having me. I am Viper from the 422nd Battalion of the 42nd Brigade, and I'm a South African fighting in Ukraine against the illegal invasion of Russia into Ukraine. And that's me.
It's a big pleasure and a big honor to have you today with us. I receive a lot of questions from different people watching our channel. What does the process of joining the Ukrainian brigade look like? Did you just show up at the recruitment office, or was there a whole process behind it?
So I actually applied to the Legion through the email address, and it took about a couple of weeks, and they replied back to me. I submitted all my paperwork, everything to them, and it probably took about 4 to 5 months for them to get back to me to say, yes, there is a unit that is interested in my skill set, and that they then will issue me with a letter of recommendation. I received the letter of recommendation and then started the visa process. So that took another probably 4 or 5 months. And then eventually we had to fight to get the visa, and we got the visa. And then went for the visa to Poland. And then that was quite quick, 2 weeks, and had my interview, everything. And then bought my flight tickets to Ukraine. When I arrived at Ukraine, I must say the Legion, as I passed through the border, the Legion helped me. The guys were immediately there. They took us in and moved us to a facility where we then went into the pre-selection process. So we pretty much went through one day of just being in a hospital and pretty much everything being tested. I mean, heart, eyes, ears, skin. I felt a bit violated after that, but I understood why it was necessary. So then after that, once we've got the clearance out that we are allowed then to enter into the Legion, we were moved into a pre-training facility where we trained and also underwent physical training and also physical testing. It was a very lengthy process, but for me, although I had previous combat experience, it was important for me to learn trench fighting because my combat experience are more in guerrilla tactics, small group reconnaissance, things like that. And obviously, the war in Ukraine, it's more back to Second World War where there's trench systems, and I needed to understand how that worked, and also understand I've never had the threat of reconnaissance via drones or drop drones or FPVs and things like that. So to understand that, I wanted to first go through the process of training so that I could understand it, and then from there decide to which unit I go.
Is CQB experience helpful in terms of trench warfare, and what is the difference between the two?
So I would say CQB is, yes, it is helpful because for you to be able to maneuver in a trench with angles to the left, angles to the right, CQB training will help you. But a trench is also unique in the way that you've got confined space. So you need to train, and there's SOPs that we use when fighting in a trench because of the confined space. So the movement, the freedom of movement are limited now. So obviously, there's you need to adapt to then the way that you clear a trench. So Are they similar? Yes, to an extent, but they're also quite different, because your movement is limited. And if movement is limited, you need to overcome blind spots, you need to overcome cornering, fire. A simple thing like a mag change in a trench would be a process of two guys. Where obviously in a CQB environment, you do your mag change and you continue. So things like that, yeah. And it was very, very important to learn that prior to me to be able to operate.
What was going through your mind on your way to becoming a recruit? And were there any second thoughts?
I was anticipating, and I was happy about it. Because for me, the reasons why I came here is for the children of Ukraine, the next generation. So I've had a clear long time with all the visas and all of that to work through it. I also absorbed a lot of battle material, so I had a very good understanding. Analyzed a lot of the battle material that's available. It was for me, it was actually coming to make a difference. So no matter what the situation would have been, it wouldn't have changed my mind, because I've had time to think about it, time to make the decision, and it wasn't a hasty decision of, oh, let me jump on a flight and yeah, we go fight. It's not about that. For me, it was not.
Tell me this, is there anything that you brought from home and that something that you keep with you at all times?
I've got a I've got a necklace that was with me for a very, very long time, wherever I've operated, with Christ on a cross. And that's the only thing that I've got from home that's always been with me and is always with me, on me. Other than that, not much. I mean, I was CEO of a company, so there's not much of my corporate. I always have a laugh because I had suitcases full of suits and decent clothes and everything, and I left it in Georgia where I came from, and eventually, like a couple of months later, I said to a mate of mine, "Listen, there's a bunch of quite expensive suits. Just like start giving it to people, giving it out because I'm definitely not. I don't think I'll be back in office soon." I literally just packed a small suitcase, made sure I've got wool socks, wool underwear, and some good boots, and that was it.
What kind of boots do you prefer, by the way?
Lower. I'm a lower guy. I mean, I've operated with them for a long while, and I yet to find a boot that can beat them on comfortability. The Gore-Tex is amazing in snow. It's pretty much the boots that keeps my feet warm. So, without feet, you can't operate.
I double on that. Lova is the best you can find. How do you think does religion help in combat, or it works the opposite way?
For me, to be honest with you, I'm a Christian, and I can tell you now, it helps me a lot. Um, because I've always got the saying, it's in God's hands. I mean, our time in on earth is just grace. So uh, people always ask me, yeah, but now you go into a scenario where it's extremely dangerous, and how do you cope with that? And I always say to them, there's two parts to this. You can literally cross the street in the UK and a bus can run you over, or you can fight in a war and an artillery shell can hit you. I promise you, the bus gonna hurt more. And then they always start laughing about it. But I mean, life is random, and in war you see it very, very clearly. It's a very random thing. So for me, being religious, a Christian, um, I always say, it's only by His grace, and I can promise you, every morning I say, "Thank you, God, that you gave me another day." It's by grace that He gives it to us. So That helps a lot. It helps a lot in my mindset, the way that I operate, and the way that I conduct myself.
Would you say that Ukrainian soldiers are religious?
Religious, yes, for sure. I mean, a lot of the guys that we meet and interact with are very religious, and it's like in any civilization, there's religious and non-religious people. So yes, most of them is religious, I would say. But then obviously you get people that is not religious, and I mean it's their prerogative, it's their choice. So yeah.
Did anything about Ukraine surprise you when you joined the unit?
The beauty of the country, to be honest with you, it's an extremely beautiful country. I mean, just as I thought, okay, yes, this must be the most beautiful place, then Ukraine just surprised me again and showed me something more beautiful. That is the one thing. So the natural beauty, and I'm a very natural person. I grew up on a farm type of environment, very remotely. So for me, nature is very important to who I am as a person. And I must say that's the one thing that I love about Ukraine. It's natural beauty is second to none. Um, if you go to the Carpathians, the Alps has got nothing on it. But if you go into Kharkiv Oblast, the forests, Germany has got nothing on it on forestry. So wherever you move, there's, I mean, Odessa, the Black Sea. It's Dover in the UK has got nothing on it. It's very beautiful. The other thing that also surprised me a lot is the ingenuity of the people of Ukraine. Brother, I that amazed me pretty much every day.
How did you adapt to life in the Ukrainian war zone? And what was more helpful, the experience that you gained during the training in the Ukrainian army or your military background?
If we talk about the civilian, where we live and things like that, having farm experience and ball pumps and doing, we never had like somebody that you can just phone, because the closest town was about 60, 80 kilometers from us. So you can't just phone somebody to come and do something for you. So my dad taught us how to weld, taught us how to do plumbing, how to do electricity, how to be a mechanic, how to do borehole pumps. We grew up with that. And I must say, we've got luxury living because of that, because I can take literally any house and I can electrify it for us with the generator and make sure the electricity works and lights work. And so the comfort of that, the knowledge of that helped me a lot with like making life easier for us on the line, in the front where we live. Um, like pumping water, because there's no running water where we are. So we throw in a ball pump, we do the piping, and I mean, we've got water. If it comes to combat, a lot of the training that I got in Ukraine helped me understand a lot of artillery pieces, things like that, a lot better. Um, yes, my training that I received previously to this, um, it's also part of our training now. So all the new guys that comes in, things like QTA training, quick target acquiring training, things like that I've was taught way back when, is stuff that I'm now brought into our training program. So that helps a lot. But then also the training that I received here, yeah, it's a combination, taking the best of both and working out how to train the guys and train and keep on continuously training us. And also going, I mean, I've been about 2 weeks ago, I was on a 5-day course for specific skill sets, and the training was amazing. I mean, adding a skill set to what you can do is always good.
Would you say that combat training in Ukraine is similar to NATO armies?
The general training is very similar to NATO training, but it's also more specialized because I think now, almost, well, in a couple of days, being 3 years into the war, the knowledge gained and the adaptiveness of training in Ukraine has changed. If you take in consideration what was trained in 2022 versus what we're training now in 2025, um, it's, I would say, more, even more advanced than the training of NATO, because it's ever evolving, and the ZSU is ever evolving in training. We've recently, and I can't say too much about it, but we've gone back to a very old tactic that I was trained in the SANDF, and that it's such a stupid thing, but once you utilize it correctly, it's a game changer. So that's what's amazing about it. We go back to the old books, but then we adapt it with the latest technologies, and it makes a hell of a big difference.
What is your unit like? What can you tell about the brothers in arms that you're fighting alongside? And in your opinion, what makes your brigade and your battalion different from other units of the armed forces of Ukraine?
That's also a very, very good question. So, talking about the type of people that we are in our unit, we are international unit. So we've represented by at least 12 or 13 different countries. But what's interesting is that we also have Ukrainians joining our unit now that speaks English. We also have a female, a riflewoman, that's been with us for the last month and a bit. And I mean, they excel and they integrate extremely well into our group. So it's not only brothers, now it's sisters as well. It's not only the foreigners, but that the Ukrainians also want to join our unit and be part of our unit. So that is about the brothers and sisters. I mean, there's Argentinian, and the thing is, I like to keep a balance. So I also do the recruitment, or final recruitment for all of the candidates coming into the company. Um, and what's nice is I like to keep a balance. So we've got a couple of guys that is in their late 30s. Some of them, like me, I'm early 40s. We've even got a guy that is in his late 40s. But then we mixed it with youth. So 21, 23, 25, 26, 27, that age. And what's nice about it is, so I always people always ask me, but why do you do that mix? And I say because it's important. As a youngster, they've got that oomph. They always want to show the old guys. And as an old guy, over my dead body will a youngster outperform me. So it's that pull the whole time. So that pull makes that everybody raise their game because they don't want to look bad, either being young or old. And the steadiness of the oldness are there, the calmness of mind is there from the older guys, but then there's fighting spirit from the youngsters, and I mean it awakes the fighting spirit of the older guys again. As far as our battalion goes, um, I couldn't get a better commander than I've got. Even my company commander and my battalion commander. My battalion commander has been schooled in the US as a ranger. Although he's Ukrainian, he speaks English. Tactically, he loves to do smart war, not dumb war. And we value life. I mean, that's the most important thing for me in Ukraine is if you've got command that values your life and your guy's life, you can't ask for any better commander. Our battalion commander and our company commander is amazing because there's a share of information and there's a level of trust. And with that, you work as a very good unit and you do good work.
Can you say that Russians are experiencing problems with logistics or with their artillery shell supplies, judging from what you see?
Freedom that they had in 23, 24, beginning 24 is definitely not there anymore. They used to outshoot us probably 9-1, 10-1, where it's now even Stevens. We still see mechanized movement. So equipment wise, they must still have equipment. Um, they still have drones, but I must say that, yeah, they still send a lot of guys our way. I mean, they like to do huge pushes. Um, and as far as equipment goes, I think they don't have the freedom that they used to have. I think there's not so much in the tank anymore. So the stockpiles that they used to have, I think, is now at a point where they also need to start actually valuing each and every piece of equipment.
What can you tell about the Russian casualties based on your own observations? Are they big or are they relatively big?
There's a lot of fertilizer in the areas that we operate. So I can tell you, we've got about 100-meter stretch of forest that we normally operate in that is pretty much past our zero. And if we operate in the, you can see a lot of Russian bodies just lying everywhere. Um, so based on what I've seen with my own eyes, their casualties must be huge. They must take huge losses. But then also, I'm logged into sometimes the drone feeds to have a look at what's going on the front line. And if I look at our drone feeds and how we operate against them and stop their pushes, yeah, the casualties are huge for sure, for sure, for sure.
What makes a Russian person go to a different country and voluntarily become a fertilizer for Putin?
I think in the beginning it was patriotism, and now it's purely a financial decision that they think they're making. We had a joke. There was a meme about a Russian woman that sent a message to a group of her friends asking if her second husband now dies as well, will she have get all the money that she got for the first one. So, and that says a lot about it. So I think they probably do it as a way of financial means, which, I mean, no amount of money in the world should be equate to a life.
Is there any common misconception about foreign volunteers in Ukraine that you would like people to stop believing?
Yeah, we're not mercenaries. People need to understand that. I am a soldier in the army of Ukraine. There's no difference between me and any other Ukrainian soldier. We get the same treatment, we get the same salary, we get the same food, we get the same everything. There's no difference. Um, and so I want people to stop thinking that we are these mercenary forces that who randomly runs around and kill people. It's definitely not what it is. We disciplined. We are we part of command. We follow our command structure, and it's no different than any other army.
Has this experience changed your views on the war in general?
It just validated things that I've already known. Like I always say that Ukrainians remind me of the South Africans back home, which they tenacious people, they fighting people, they never give up type of people, but they also down to earth, humble. Um, and my experience in Ukraine has confirmed that, and I actually experienced Ukrainians to be more humble than I thought, more tenacious than I thought, have more fighting spirit than I thought.
What is something about the Russian invasion of Ukraine that people abroad are struggling to understand?
So the fact that Russia invaded Ukraine, which is a sovereign country, one is fact. It cannot be negotiated. It cannot be It cannot be changed. It cannot be tried to be covered. I think people need to understand that. I always say, go have a look at the movie 21 Days in Mariupol. That is life in Ukraine still. It's not just something that happened then. The same shaheeds are coming in, the same missiles are coming in. Nothing has changed. People still live in fear. You can go to Kiev. I mean, you can go to, I can call all the cities like that. People still die. Civilians, innocent people. So do not try and sugarcoat that. That's reality. That's what it is. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I continue to see it with my own eyes.
Brother, what would you like to say to all the guys back home who consider coming to Ukraine and either fight for Ukraine or help Ukrainian civilians or Ukrainian army?
If you have the right mindset, if you have the right tenacity, if you have the right will and come for the right reasons, please come and join us, fight with us, and come and make a difference. If you do not have any of those, please stay away, because you're going to get people killed, and we need real people. We don't need fake people. If you're a TikTok star, go TikTok star and take photos in Lviv and go home. Okay, good for you. Go get a following. If you want to fight and you're serious about fighting and you've got that oomph in you to fight, by all means, we'll go out of our way to help you, train you, make sure you're good to go.
Dear friends, it was an interview with a South African volunteer call sign Viper from the 422nd Separate Battalion, 42nd Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. You know, I often hear that Ukrainians inspire the whole world with their resilience. But the fact is, at times we all need a motivation. People like Viper and his comrades from all around the world serve not only as defenders of Ukraine, but also a true inspiration for every Ukrainian soldier, reminding us that we are fighting for the right cause. My name is Operator Starsky. Thanks for watching.